Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made to help agents become top producers in their desired market. We also want to help brokers and team leaders encourage and develop as many top producers as they can in their organizations as well. All you have to do is go to topproducersnation.com to see all the online resources, the community, the different platform that we have in place to help you with those things. And we would love to grab a call with you at some time if you're somebody who would love to talk more about how to become a top producer in your desired market so that we can help support you in doing so. On the local level, we are powered by Tampa Bay Real Producers here in our studio on the corner of West Shore and where are we? West Shore and Kennedy, right? Is that where you are, Rob? Where we interview the top 500 producing agents here in the market. We also feature them in our local magazine. And you might recognize our guest today because she's been featured before, actually twice, over the last few years in Tampa Bay Real Producers. That's none other than Leah Herzwurm. Leah is with Compass Realty, a top producer, top 50 producer actually this past year here in the Tampa Bay market, doing over 50 million in one of her best years, over 38 million in volume last year, over 50 transactions. Leah, it's good to have you here as a guest. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. Excited to have you. We've also had Leah on multiple panels over the years. So Leah has been involved in what we've done here on a local level. Let's start a little bit just with your background for people who might not know much yet about your story. How did you, I know you weren't born in Tampa, so how did you find your way to Tampa and get interested in real estate?
Oh, to be honest, when I found out that my husband was going to take a job here, I was like, where is that? Where is Tampa? We always vacationed on the other side of Florida.
Small, Leah.
I know, but listen, I mean, geography was not my skill, honestly. I don't think I could have been a real estate agent before Google Maps. I'm just going to be honest with you. But yeah, we found out that we were going to move here after college. I married my high school sweetheart.
Aww.
So I was, my friends like to joke and tell me I was a child bride because I got married at 21. Mm-hmm. So he accepted a job here and I followed shortly after we got married, and I started in advertising in downtown Tampa. Yep. I worked there for about 2 years and didn't love the corporate world. Sitting behind a desk was very depressing. So my husband was like, what about real estate? I think you'd be really good at that. And, I kind of just dove right in. Yeah. And took the test while, did all the things while I was still working full time, and said, the worst thing that can happen is, asking myself, what if? I'd rather try and fail than never to have tried at all.
Was there anything specific about real estate that appealed to you, or like what was it that made you want to go down that road and take the test and get everything behind your back there?
I think just being able to meet so many different people. I've always enjoyed, looking at homes and design and that kind of thing. So, and I think it's such a huge decision and a huge step in someone's life. And that's really been special to be a part of.
Now, you grew up in Georgia, right?
Yes, Augusta.
Okay. And was your husband also from Georgia?
Sure was.
Okay. So two Georgia peaches met up there, and he got a job opportunity, it sounded like, here in Tampa. Now, when did you guys move here?
I moved in 2015. He moved in 2014.
And you got licensed when?
I got licensed in 2016, the end of 2016.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you were a baby, basically, in the real estate business. Yeah. And I remember the first time we featured you, I believe it was in our Rising Star category as one of the brand new agents who had a great, solid first year. Yeah. I'd like to revisit that briefly. So if you think back to like when it got started, right, in your first year, do you pinpoint anything specific that you feel like really helped you gain some early momentum? Because you didn't have a lot of network down here.
I had none, literally none. Yeah.
How do you feel like you got off to a good start?
It was a pretty rough start. Here, I was like, had all of these limiting beliefs and who's going to trust me? We were in a teeny tiny apartment, had never even bought our own home.
Some imposter syndrome was
totally,
kicking in. Yeah.
I was probably the youngest person in my office and, was just really scared of how am I going to do this? Yeah. But, I'm like, I'm going to fake it till
St. Pete at the time, right? Which there was a lot of studs in that office that were doing good volume.
Yeah. And it was amazing. I think whenever I do anything, I kind of go in 110%. And so starting at Keller Williams was really amazing because they had a program called Ignite, which was meant to kind of ignite your business. Yep. And so I went into the office every single day and took those classes. And one thing that KW St. Pete did is they had top producers within the office teach different classes. So that was really, I think, crucial for me to see, because what I learned is that every single person ran their business differently, and it showed me that there's not just one path to success.
Yep.
You know, there would be someone who totally killed it cold calling, right? Another person who built their business by door knocking, another person who built their business on the pickleball courts. You know, it showed me that there wasn't one path to success, but
totally.
ultimately kind of needing different pillars. Of like, okay, where is my business going to come from? I kind of looked at it like 4 legs of a chair. So, you know, open houses were huge for me. I did open houses pretty much every single weekend for multiple years for other agents in my office, and then put that on
So it was their
social
listing,
media.
and then you would go and meet potential buyers and just get connected.
Every single weekend. Yes. And I wouldn't just, you know, I think a lot of people don't work the open house as much as they can. And so I would really prepare for that open house that weekend and print out flyers. I would door knock. I would walk around the neighborhood, invite all the neighbors to the open house. It was a lot of pounding the pavement in the beginning, because I literally knew no one. You had to get used to a lot of doors slammed in your face and no's, but every no brings you closer to a yes. And so, yeah, so I would, you know, invite the neighbors to the open houses and then post on social media. I think I was posting on social media a long time ago before it was the thing to do. I feel like
we had you talk about that once on a panel, I remember.
Yeah.
And were you promoting at that time like the open houses on social media and just started kind of understanding that you can promote certain aspects of these open houses that would resonate and connect with the audience?
And do like a lot of behind the scenes. I would go and preview different properties that weren't my own listings, and, you know, post little videos on stories, you know, and then that would kind of start conversation sometimes in your DMs. And honestly, sometimes it's like, it's the appearance of it, right? Like a lot of my friends in Georgia are like, you're crushing it, like thinking that these were my listings. And I'm like, well, you know, not my listings. But
But it's smart though. And it's funny how more agents don't adopt that similar philosophy, because it seems like such a smart thing to do is borrow somebody else's credibility if you don't have your own yet, you know, and you start to earn the right when you do have your own clients. And that doesn't necessarily happen for most people right away, especially if they're in a new market.
Totally.
Like you said. So it's a very smart approach. So you didn't necessarily come into this like investing in heavily in leads or looking for ways to be able to fund the business. You were organically growing it and taking it slow, I guess, at first. But how long do you think it took you to start to really see some lead flow and some traction?
Really a lot sooner than I thought, to be honest with you. You know, I didn't have the funds in the beginning. I do think that there's truth, and sometimes you have to spend money to make money. I do believe that. But I know there might be people listening that were in my position where I didn't have the funds really, you know, to do that. I actually, when I quit my full-time job, I joined care.com and I signed up to babysit as well, just to have some kind of, you know, income coming in. So I was doing that like 2 to 3 times a week.
That's a KW nonprofit?
No.
Okay.
This was literally just like care.com to like babysit children.
Doesn't KW have something? Is it KW
Yes, KW Cares?
Okay.
Yes. No, this was not that. This was literally like, how am I going to bring in a couple $100, you know, a week? So I did that thinking like, okay, I'll have this as my safety net. I'm probably going to have to babysit on the side, you know, for a couple years. And I ended up only doing that for about 6 months, really, and had to quit that because, you know, the business really happened quicker than I anticipated from the open houses. What year
we first featured you as a rising star?
I think it was after my first year.
22 or 23. Does that sound right? Maybe
it was earlier. It was before COVID.
Yeah, it was earlier, wasn't it? Because we launched in 19.
I think it was like I think it was like honestly 20? very very shortly after you launched. Because I ended up
you had
selling
done over 10 million, I believe, that year, that full year.
My first full year in the business, I sold 24 homes and was rookie of the year. Now, granted, those 24 homes only equated to 4.2 million, so it wasn't you know a big, you know, sales volume by any stretch of the imagination. But I also think that speaks volumes. I mean, even who I am now, like I never want someone to be like, oh, you might not want to work with me because
Right.
we don't have a big budget. It's like, listen, no, I want to work with you because how can we help you?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm going to treat you the same if you're buying a $150,000 condo or $1 million home.
Yep.
So my first 3 transactions were like 37,000, 40,000, and 45,000. I mean, didn't even equal the average sales price at that time was around 200,000, which we know the average sale price in
That's
Pinellas
changed.
County has changed a lot. So, I worked really, really, really hard, to make not that much commission. Honestly, they were really tiny deals, but I just hustled.
Do you remember if you've worked with those same buyers since? Have you? I'm sure you've had multiple people where you've
One
helped
of
them
those
with
I
numerous homes
had.
now.
One of those I did.
Yeah.
Two of those 3 that I'm referring to were listings. So they moved out of state. But one of them, it was a condo, and I ended up selling it years later and helping them get something else.
Yeah. Do you still get most of your business just from social media, organic content, or has that evolved and there's other strategies now that have taken over bigger percentages of the lead flow?
Honestly, I would say over 90% of our business is going to come from past client referrals or repeat clients, ultimately.
Okay.
We do get some agent-to-agent referrals as well, and I think those stem from other agents, who have followed me over the years, connecting via social media. But the majority of our business comes from our clients.
Very cool.
Yeah, I
That's
think if
awesome.
you're not tapping into that, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's the business I think most agents want. It's just a matter of, are they patient enough to actually allow things to evolve and consistent enough with their content as you've been to be able to create a brand that looks attractive enough that people can see themselves wanting to work with you, right?
Yeah, or
And you've done a
treating
great
them
job of
so
that.
well that they can't imagine working with anyone else, giving
Yeah.
them a great experience. And granted,
Well, especially when you get to 90% of repeat business, that obviously means they had a great experience with you that first time. Yeah.
And sometimes, listen, there's so much out of our control in this business and in each transaction. So, I used to stress about that so much and get worked up. And it's like, I'm not a magician. I can't change the market. I can't change what it is, right? But I can control what I can control, and do our best to give a good experience.
Totally.
So yeah, I think that that's very, very important. And I think it's not your client's job to remember that you're in real estate. It's your job to gently remind them, but also just stay in touch and, be invested in what's going on in their lives. And,
Yeah. We've talked about this on the show before, how there's been studies done on this where if you ask somebody who's worked with a realtor, would you work with this same realtor again? Most of the time, the answer is yes. Well over 60% of the time, the answer is, yeah, I had a pretty good experience. I would work with that agent again. But then in reality, when that time comes for most people, whatever that is, 3 to 6 years later, less than 10% actually do, right? And it's really because of what you just touched on. I don't think it's that they're lying up front. It's just that the agent doesn't have a good program or system in place to actually stay in touch with them for those 3 to 6 year windows. Is there anything you feel like that you have put into place that has really helped you with maintaining that client touch points and having that loyalty? I think if I remember correctly, we have talked in the past. Do you do like client appreciation parties and stuff? Is that a thing, or am I wrong about that?
I have done them in the past. It's been a couple years since I have done an actual event. I think it's gotten challenging for me. I think when you build a database that's so large, it kind of gets like,
it can get a little
how am I
overwhelming.
gonna like systemize this? There's now hundreds of people in there. Because I feel like we, in the beginning when it's like, all right, you have 48 clients or past clients to stay in touch with, that's still a lot, but you can kind of break it down.
Yeah.
But now that we're in the hundreds range, you really do we've had to systemize it because it's just too much.
Sure.
So, we send out a mailer every single month to all of our past clients. It's different content every single month. We try to put something of value in there. Sometimes we feature recent listings. It's just staying top of mind.
Yep.
And then every single year on their home anniversary if someone's purchased a home with us. We've partnered with a local bakery, and they do these really cute cookies with our logo, and we have a card in there. And so those are mailed out.
That's cool.
So we kind of have that down to a science, and kind of a Google spreadsheet of these are all the people who bought in June, and then we get that list over to her, and she sends out these boxes. So, they get a small token, and then obviously we're following up to via text, our phone call, can you believe it's been 6 years or whatnot? And sometimes that's a good conversation starter.
Absolutely.
So I'd say those are the two, really the two things that we do consistently. And then most of my past clients who are on social media, we connect with, and I do try to be, intentional if I see someone has had, a baby or a death in the family or anything like that, to just send a card or reach out.
Be a resource. Do you have any idea what percentage of your clients you have gotten more than one deal from over the years?
Oh, that's a good thing that we should track. It's a lot.
Yeah, I was just curious if you had noticed.
Yeah,
that,
I mean, I'm on some clients where this is like our third or fourth deal together.
Yeah, and do you work with? Are they all what you would say like retail residential buyers and sellers, or do you also have like an investor pool of clients that actually purchase from investment purposes?
Only a couple. Okay. The investment side of things really hasn't been our bread and butter per se. I feel like the investment deals that we've done, typically are still, maybe they start as a residential client and they decide that they want, a beach house or a secondary residence. We do have a couple of contractors, who work with investors to find a home. And a lot of times they'll kind of just buy it on their own, but then they use us to list because they want that marketing and. Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there a specific geographic area that you think you focus in on, or is that not really as big of a focus for you?
We're really still heavily all over Pinellas and Hillsborough. Okay. A couple things in Pasco, a couple things in Manatee, but really heavy in Pinellas County. And then I feel like I personally do a lot of deals in Northeast St. Pete, which is where I live.
Yep. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that tied to just you kind of being tied into that community and having a network there?
Totally.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just a quick second here. If you're an agent who knows that you want to be featured as a top producer here on the podcast and would love some support in helping you grow your business so that you can be a top producer in your desired market, you can see what resources and programs we have in store to help you at topproducersnation.com. That is where you'll be invited to register for a webinar and where you can get access to the different programs and courses and different opportunities that we have in store for you at topproducersnation.com. You can also join our online community by going to join.topproducersnation.com to be able to join our online community and learn more about being a top producer. If you are a broker or a team leader who would like help in producing more top producers on your team, we invite you to do the same thing. Our programs are made specifically to help you as well grow your teams. Let's get back to this episode. One of the things we kind of preach a lot on a lot of our platforms is we have something called the 4 principles of top producers. And one of those talking points is the idea of clarifying your unique selling proposition. Like, what is it that really makes you different as an agent compared to the 25,000 other licensed agents that are in the market? And how can that be communicated to your existing clients and your prospective clients? Is there anything that comes to mind for you, Leah, that you feel like has been a differentiator for the way that you've approached the business, that you try to communicate it all to your audience? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I mean, I personally think people are going to work with who they like. Mm-hmm. That's at the end of the day, like,
tried and true.
You're not the best fit for every single person.
Yeah.
And so I think being really comfortable and confident in who you are and how you do business and setting expectations and boundaries and things like that, your people are going to be drawn to you. I mean, there's sometimes where I go into a listing appointment and there's someone who's completely unrealistic. They want to, list $200,000 more than I think the market. And there are agents who will be like, yes, absolutely. Sign here, press hard.
The agents
and you know
with
what?
commission breath.
It's not going to
desperate.
sell.
Yeah.
And I invest a lot of time, a lot of money into my listings. And so I think I am always very honest with all of my clients, even when it's not fun to be honest. And sometimes that has shot me in the foot where they go with another agent, but a lot of times they come back around because they're like, you were right. Should have listened to you from the beginning.
Yeah. Can you see the sweet Southern belle having fierce conversations with her, with her clients like that? There's actually a great book out there called Fierce Conversations, which came to my mind as you were talking about.
Yeah.
But it's really true what you're saying. A lot of agents are intimidated because they're desperate to try to take whatever they can get, right? To just get business. And that's easy to do when maybe they're struggling financially or whatever. But if you really want to position yourself to serve the client at the highest level, which I know you do, you have to be honest with them and tell them you're the professional. You're the one who's supposed to know and be the true consultant.
And you need to do your research before meeting with them. If they know the comps better than you do, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Coming really prepared, and selling what do we need to do, to sell your home for the most amount of money in the least amount of time.
Totally.
And not being afraid to have those difficult conversations because,
and they respect you for it.
Yeah.
Is most of your business listings now? Is it pretty split between buyers and sellers?
I would say it's about 60-40. Listings and
side?
buyers.
Okay. Do you have a buyer's agent on your team or do you work with both?
I work with both. I would say Amanda, she works with the majority of our buyers. But
Amanda's your buyer's agent?
She's not specifically a buyer's agent. No, she's a full-time agent. She's on listings and buyers. So I bring her on to a lot of deals with me. Kind of my right hand girl. She's been a huge blessing to me personally, professionally, especially, entering into the era of being a working mom.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up because you have 2 young kids now at home. How has that transition been with figuring out how to do all the things that come with being a mom at home?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's a whole other level of responsibility. Plus, you've still been having a very successful business. Has that created a whole new level of challenge for you, or has it worked out really well?
It has. I think it has worked out really, really well, because I think that my definition of success has changed a lot over the years. I think it's really easy to get very competitive in this business, and you can feel really good about what you're doing and then look to your left or look to your right and, I need to do more, and
run your own race, right?
Yeah. And okay, what are your goals for next year? Double it. It always used to be, I want to double my production, and got to a point where it's like, I don't want to double my production.
Yeah.
I don't.
Sure.
I don't want to do this. And it's not about the money. Time is our greatest asset, right?
Totally.
And so it was kind of a fluid transition. Amanda had been with me for several years prior to me becoming a mom, and it was a struggle to become a mom. We went through a little over 3 years of infertility and trying to get pregnant, and I think God has a plan in it all. And I was able to kind of really dive in, and I focused on work. A lot. I could never go back to how it was working. Crazy hours and go.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask is the biggest adjustment just strictly having a different schedule and sticking to it and being firmer.
And honestly, sharing the love and sharing truly, like I said, Amanda worked really hard and, showed up on the team and did all the things, and I've brought her onto a ton of stuff with me now, and she's been a huge, huge help in allowing me to have more time at home, and then also having a full-time operations manager. I kind of just had an honest conversation with my husband where it's like, okay, we can pay for a full-time nanny, and I could probably go out and crush it and, do all the things, but I'm never going to get these years back.
Yep.
And what a blessing to be in a career, where you really can do both. And so it's like, I'm not making as much money because, team splits or whatever, and, having these other people in place on the team, but I get to, go on a walk with my kids one day if I want to. Yeah. So,
I don't think you'll ever look back and regret it. That's for sure.
We still have, we have childcare 4 days a week. So I am still I'm still working. I'm still out there. But
Yeah,
not
no,
as
it makes
much.
sense.
Not as much.
And it's interesting because you're a good inspiration, I hope, and even a model for a lot of women who maybe are wondering about, do I even want to have a family? Because am I willing to, quote unquote, give up my career or give up part of my career or my goals or aspirations on the business side? And you're walking evidence that you don't have to, right?
You don't have
you
to.
can still be very successful as far as the business side, but have the priority of having a beautiful family and being able to raise them as you do. And there is a way to balance that both.
Totally.
And so hopefully that provides that example for other women who might be fearful of making that decision. And
honestly, your clients will kind of gravitate towards that, right? I feel like I've worked with a lot of young families and people who get it. And so, I mean, the first 6 months after Graham was born, we don't have any family here. And I was terrified to leave him with anyone. And since most of my business is repeat clients are, people that know me somewhat, they're like, bring him. And so, I mean, both of my kids.
You only had a mother-in-law that lived in Augusta that might want to.
I know. So both of my kids should be on payroll because I've taken them to so many things too. And of course there's going to be clients that I wouldn't. That day might come one day, Leah. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't do that, for someone who did it. I wouldn't bring, but there's a lot of times where I would bring them. You do what you got to do. Totally. And I mean, how many people are going to be like turned off by having two cute kids there for the listing meeting? And I'm biased.
They could welcome them with open arms.
But my kids are really cute.
We'll have to compare because I have some cute ones myself. But yes, no, I've seen pictures. They are cute. You have a beautiful family for sure.
Thank you.
So, and your husband is working full time, same role that he had when he first came down here?
Yep.
Nice.
He's in medical device sales.
Very cool. Awesome. So, couple things for people, again, who might not have checked out your story yet. What do you guys love to do, personal side, for when you're not working so hard all the time? What are some things that keep you busy, hobbies and interests?
We go on walks every single day. I'm a big walker. Go to the park. Love taking the kids.
St. Pete's a good area to walk.
Yeah, it's a great area. Yeah. If you're ever at Crescent Lake, you probably see us there. We're there once, if not twice a day.
We're doing our holiday party actually in December at the Reflection Building over Mirror Lake.
Well, I own a unit there.
Do you really?
I sure do.
Well, we will be there. Hopefully you swim by and say hello.
Yes,
I would love to. We're going to be at the rooftop there with the gallery area. So
pretty.
December 11th, I want to say, is the date. So we'll have to we'll shoot you an invite for that. Yeah,
perfect.
No doubt.
We're really involved with our church, Radiant, at East St. Pete. So love it there. We try to get a sitter at least once a week to have adult conversation and go to dinner and do a date night. I think that's important. Yeah, we're friends on Facebook. I've seen some of your traveling experiences and stuff. It seems like you still have made an intentional effort to still travel and get out and have fun and see the world. And so it's cool to see again how you've been able to find that balance between work, pleasure, kids, and all that jazz. It's
so
beautiful chaos. Don't be fooled.
I know, believe me, I can understand it. Okay, a couple rapid fire questions for you. All right.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite book, author, seminar that comes to mind that you feel like has made an impact on you personally or professionally?
I really, really enjoyed the MREA book, the
Millionaire Real Estate.
Yeah, that really helped me get going in the beginning. Yes.
What's one thing you feel like you stole from that book that made an impact for you? Anything come to mind?
I think really just the pillars kind of that we talked about in the beginning of like figuring out where your business is going to come from. And sticking to that and not trying to be a squirrel. It's easy to be a squirrel. Oh, that's working for her, or that's working for him. But just being really consistent and,
Yeah, that's a common resource. We've had that book come up a bunch of times here on the show. So it's a good recommendation for anybody, especially if you're a newer agent.
And your lead gen too, because you don't have business if you don't have leads. Like you have to consistently be filling that pipeline. Because I think that's why agents go like this and like this, because, you get a couple deals, you're super busy with those, and then you forget, they close and you're like, oh crap, I don't have anything lined up for the next 3 months because you've been so busy trying to close those deals that you're not having those conversations and being consistent in how you got those in the first place.
I think in the book he talks a lot about like leads, listings, and leverage, right? It's like the 3 L's, like the triangle technique that he lays out. So there's a lot of good principles in there for sure.
No doubt. And I think the leverage piece is something that I've really put into place in the last couple of years. Especially
if you want to buy your time back, which is another great book, by the way, called Buy Your Time Back.
Buy Your Time Back.
Yeah. Dan Martell is the author's name. Something to check out. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Oh Lord, I love Bravo. I am
Okay.
a
Bravo
freaking
gal,
Real
huh?
Housewives snob. I can tell you anything
You
you
have
want to
time
know.
for that? That's amazing.
It's kind of background noise, like as I'm laying in bed on my heating pad after carrying my 40-pound toddler around. Yeah, I love a Bravo moment.
Got it.
Husband hates it. Absolutely hates it. Tells me I'm killing my brain cells by watching it, but
Well, that's why we don't watch it. But it's okay. You deserve a little time to kill your brain cells if you choose
Yep.
to in a healthy way. What about favorite place to travel other than Augusta, Georgia?
I know we love going back and visiting our fam
I'm
bam.
sure you've been to the Masters before, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, eat, sleep, breathe, golf.
It's
Let's
funny you
see.
mentioned that. I was just watching. Have you heard of this thing called the Internet Invitational? The Barstool. So, have you heard of this, Rob? So I was I got hooked in over the last couple of days, YouTube channel. And do you know who Dave Portnoy is? The guy who created Barstool
yes,
Sports?
yes.
So he created a golf tournament, calls it the Internet Invitational. And he just invited kind of everyday internet creation content creators. And he put up $1 million. And they just went out. It was a tournament. It was like all this kind of fun drafting that they did.
Oh, cool.
And then it's actually all over the internet, so you can check it out if you're interested. But as a golf fan, I think you'd have some fun with
Yeah.
it. It's pretty entertaining to watch because these guys, most of them are comedians, and so they're kind of really going at each other. And it's just hilarious to watch them go at it. Most of them are bad golfers. Usually when you watch real golfers, they're just so good, it almost loses some of its value for people
Yeah.
like me. But when you watch kind of everyday guys out there hacking it out, it's a totally different story, you know?
Yeah.
So worth a
so
shot.
funny.
Since you brought up golf,
Yeah.
I probably did first, but yes, it's
Yeah.
worth checking it out. So what was my question before again?
Favorite place that we've
That's
ever
right.
traveled?
Yes.
I would probably say we've only been to Europe once, but I would love to go back. I don't know if that's in the cards with little ones.
Sure.
But we did
on our list,
Positano
too.
and the Amalfi Coast, and that's probably my favorite place I've ever been. The food was so amazing.
Yeah.
You just feel like you're in a storybook. It was so beautiful.
That's neat. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but with the R6, it makes it even more
Yeah,
challenging
I
to
mean,
travel to Europe any day now. We'll see.
yeah.
One of these days
One
we'll
of
make it
these
out
days.
there again. My wife and I used to go before we had the 6 kids, but that seems like a different world ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My bucket list, the next trip that I want to go on is I want to go to Cabo.
It's gorgeous. I've been there.
You've been
3
there?
times, yeah.
I kind of feel like it gives the feel, you see people on the boat, it kind of gives that European feel with that famous rock.
Yeah.
Whatever right there.
I haven't been to a lot of the European beaches, so
Mm-hmm.
I probably couldn't relate entirely. I stayed in a hotel that was right in front of that famous rock, and
Yeah.
I had the room where you can have the doors wide open, the waves are just crashing. It was a cool
So
experience.
nice. Yeah.
And it felt kind of like a Caribbean
Yeah.
beach spot to me.
That's
you
a
know?
little closer to home.
Yeah,
I feel
that
more
is.
comfortable.
Easier flight for sure. No doubt. Makes sense. All right, couple last questions. We've talked a lot about some of the things you've done to be successful in the business and how it has grown somewhat organically over the years. When you look forward into where this is evolving for you in the years to come, what do you get most excited about when you think about the rest of this year, 2026, even a longer term perspective if you have one? What are some thoughts that come to mind that you get excited about?
That's a good question. Every day is so different. I think every transaction is different. It's exciting, to know like the clients that I've gotten to know and kind of know their goals and where they want to be. And it's really rewarding when you are able to help someone, move on up, right? Sell their first house, see the equity that they've built, help them take that step forward. That gets me really excited.
Nice. So just getting more to that couple hundred client list that you have right now,
Yeah.
then figuring out how to serve them at a different level, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. One of the things we had mentioned before is these frameworks we've put together called the 4 principles of top producers. And the 4th one on the list is utilizing marketing automation in a way so that you can enjoy the lifestyle that you worked so hard to create, right? In the first place. One of the common things I've seen with top producers sometimes is their client base grows and they get so overwhelmed because of that, that they almost can't enjoy the lifestyle that they now can afford. But they're so caught up with the workload, it's hard to find that balance for many people. And you seem like you're doing a great job of keeping that head on your shoulders and figuring out that balance. But a lot of people struggle with that. So figuring out what tools to be able to tap into and leveraging, that could be the next challenge that could come for the years to come.
Definitely.
Yeah, which
No.
you've already started tapping into. as you said.
Automation is great.
Yeah, when it's done properly.
Totally.
It also can be somewhat cheesy if it's
Yes,
just thrown
if
together,
it's
but there's so
totally.
many great tools out there now that could really play a role in helping out. So that does make sense. If someone did want to pick your brain a little bit more, Leah, to talk about your open house backgrounds and how you got rolling and started, if you don't follow her, by the way, on social media, she's a great follow on social media. You can see some of the things she does. I think Instagram is your biggest platform for like the real estate side. Am I correct about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Following Leah on IG would be a great tip. But what's the best way for someone to connect with you if they wanted to?
Yes, my Instagram handle is @Herzwurm_homes. Must have really loved him. I went from 3 letters to Herzwurm. So that is HERZWURM. And you can also, I'm easy. You can call me, text me. My direct cell is 706-910-9909. I'm never giving up that Augusta area code.
It is an easy last name to remember, though. I mean, it stands out.
You know what my
right?
maiden name was? It would have been really good for real estate.
What's that?
How would you pronounce this? V-I-A.
Via.
It was Vi, but I was called Leah Via my whole life.
Leah Via.
Right?
Yeah, that does
Put
have
that
a
on
nice
a billboard.
Ring to it. Yes.
Good.
It sounds like a content creator, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Remember the rhyme in the grade school rhyme? When
What's
jingle
that?
bells go walking, the first one does the talking. Don.
I didn't go to that school.
Right?
Yeah, no, I missed that rhyme. And I probably was sleeping during that period. Who knows? All right, last question for you, Leah. This is what I call the legacy question. So we already talked a little bit last question about the future and kind of a shorter term focus of goals in business. But I want you to think about hopefully many, many years from now when you're sitting on that rocking chair and you're thinking back as to what you would want your legacy to be and what you'd want to be most remembered for personally or professionally. What are some thoughts that come to mind that would be most important to you?
I think like your character is so important. You know, I think people will obviously forget the things that you say, but they're not going to forget how you made them feel. And so I hope to be remembered for that as someone who truly cared about other people and, you know, showed God's love through, you know, the happy times, the hard times. That's what I would like to be remembered for.
Amen. You're making Rob cry over there. Look, he's snuffling already. Leah, it was great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
It's been great to see the success you've had over the years. I've been a fan since we first met a couple of years ago, and it seems like things are just very exciting with obviously personal side with your family and obviously on the business side. So don't be a stranger. You're always invited to all of our events. Hopefully you're still getting those invites because we send them all the time. But let's end with a challenge to the audience the way that we always do, which is to take action on at least one thing that you might have heard Leah mention today that can help propel you forward personally or professionally. We're big fans that if you're going to take the time to listen to this, whether it's live on our YouTube channel or if you're on any of the other podcast platforms that you happen to be on, if you don't take action on the actual step you took of listening to this episode, you tend to lose a lot of the value that you can gain from taking the time to watch or listen. And so what's one thing you could do? It could be as simple as picking up one of the book recommendations that we talked about. Maybe you're a newer agent and you're like, you know what? I need to dive into this open house strategy like Leah did because it obviously worked for her. And it's a great way to borrow somebody else's credibility if you don't yet have that for yourself. Maybe you need to follow someone's social media strategy like Leah's also laid out, and you can follow her on Instagram to see how she does that, because that's also been a huge tool that has helped her build her business, which is now very referral driven, as you heard her mention. So what is one thing? Take action on something. It could just simply be having a conversation with someone like Leah to be able to pick her brain a little bit more about how she has balanced this beautiful family while also having a successful career. And maybe that's something that you're also thinking about or struggling with, and you can talk to someone who's making that work. So whatever it could be, we have plenty of resources with people like Leah, as well as even on our topproducersnation.com platform to help you grow your business as an agent. And we are committed to helping you be a top producer in whatever market that you're out there. If you don't already subscribe, by the way, to our podcast, just click the little button below. That way you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode, which is weekly. And we drop these on our YouTube channel as well as all throughout the many different podcast platforms that are out there. So click that button, check us out online. And if you'd like to book a call where we can dig in a little bit deeper to your goals, to what you're currently experiencing and where you would want to go, we would love to be able to do that with the discovery call option we have, and we can dive into how to be able to help you be a top producer in your desired market. We'll see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. We'll see you later.